more. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share. Yo, what is happening? I am Shia Yeshua, but this is another Mo Talk. Yeah, man. So Dillion Gabriel, over the weekend, he was able to have his first NFL preseason start. I don't know how he feel about it. I don't really know how the front office and the coaching staff of Cleveland Brown feel about it. But it was that's what it was. It was especially for someone who is getting the majority of the first team snaps. You expected more from what we saw. It was not a stellar performance by no stretch of the imagination. So I wondered to myself, coming in today, Monday, I said, well, we've seen Shedeur and what he did with Carolina, not getting the majority of the first team reps, going out there and putting in his work against Carolina's first team defense. And it was impressive. We came back that next Monday. Shedeur was still fourth on the depth chart. And I get it. He was drafted fifth, 144th, right? We're not going to put too much into this. He hasn't really just earned his way, I guess you can say, to move up at least one spot on the depth chart, right? So during that week, Shedeur mysteriously injured his oblique, which made him unavailable for this past week, second preseason game against the Eagles. But mysteriously, Dillion Gabriel has become healthy enough to start. As I told you guys in the video that I did after Shedeur started, that it's been reported that Dillion Gabriel don't look like an NFL quarterback. We can't roll him out in the very first game and he stink it up. So we're going to let Shedeur come in. No one expected Shedeur to play the way that he did. They was very upset because they had questions that they had to answer as to, is he going to continue to be fourth on the depth chart? Is this going to allow him to start getting snaps with the first team? Are you guys going to start taking him more serious? They didn't want to answer those questions. So now preparing for Philadelphia Eagles, well, we don't know what we're going to get from Dillion Gabriel. So what we cannot do is allow Dillion Gabriel to go in and stink it up. And then we have Shedeur come in after him and Shedeur shine again and throw that watch up, right? We can't do that. So it'll be easy for us to say that Shedeur is hurt. It's not going to be able to continue practice. And mind you, I had the receipt that he wasn't even taking snaps on the day that he mysteriously got hurt.
Over practice. Shedeur did not get a rep today. This is like the first time we went a full practice without getting a rep. He is starting the preseason game, so my guess is he's going to get a ton of work in the preseason game. 7-on-7 started out. Pickett with the 1s, Gabriel with the 2s, Huntley with the 3s, and from what I've read, that looks like that's the only work Huntley got. And then you're looking at the 11-on-11s. The Browns offense, it's Flacco with the 1s, Gabriel with the 2s, Gabriel running with the 1s. Eventually in practice, Shedeur rarely this whole time has gotten the opportunity to run with the 1s. Keep that in mind throughout this whole time, especially training camp. Understand the ramp up in the spring ball season.
They wasn't even paying him any attention, but he's hurt and he's not going to be able to play against the Eagles, right? So here we are. We come, and Dillion Gabriel plays this week. Shador, we don't have to worry about him because he's hurt, and he's not going to come in and make us look more foolish than we already do. Now, mind you, that Dillion Gabriel, he was a 3rd round draft pick. He wasn't even picked all that high, right? So, but we're going to give him all the chances in the world while we doing what we can to sabotage Shador's career here. We know what we saw. We can't unsee what we saw. People know what they saw. They can't unsee what they saw. And here goes Dillion Gabriel. And again, we seen what we saw. Well, he made some comments over the weekend. So this is actually 2 stories that I'm putting in one because this was the only thing that I was going to talk about. But an article came across me just a few minutes ago. And I was like, yo, I got to dig into this article. So let's listen to these comments that he made after his performance at Philadelphia. Check it out.
Competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work.
Well, the mic was put in front of him by the reporter named Aditi Kink Habwala. Forgive me if I messed up her name, but I'm not fluent in those type of names. But yeah. And she put the mic in front of him, and his response was, there are entertainers, then there are competitors. And my thing is that if you're going to be cocky enough to say a comment like that, you have got to be able to put numbers up better than this, especially Dillion, if you are grabbing the majority of the first team snaps. See, there are a lot of people saying that it wasn't that bad. Well, maybe it wasn't, but it was that bad. Seeing that you are grabbing the majority of the first team snaps, your position on the depth chart is not moving. Shador Sanders is half in the NFL, half on a practice squad, half in out the NFL, and maybe another half being traded to another team. And he did what he did when he played against Carolina, and you come in and you go 13 for 18. 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, and a fumble loss. That's 2 turnovers. The interception that you threw came on the exact same play that Shador scored a touchdown on. I loaded that earlier today.
For the idiots saying that these are not the same play, they're literally the same play. They just have different personnel. Shador had 3 receivers. Dillion had 2 receivers. And his tight end got jammed up and thrown upfield. Dillion still made the decision to throw the ball, and it was a poor decision. It's on him. Shut up.
The exact same play. You get picked and it goes back to the house. So if you're going to say there are entertainers and that there are competitors, well, Dillion, it don't seem to me that you are competing all that well. You're being handed something that you are undeserving of. Are you in your feelings? See, the feeling that I think that you have, Dillion, right now is that feeling of when you get hired for a position that you're not prepared for, and you get no respect from the people that is working up under you because they know that you didn't deserve the position and the guy that did deserve the position was overlooked and he's still in the building. It got to be real uncomfortable. Now, I don't have a problem with Dillion Gabriel at all. Let me put that out there. Don't have a problem with him at all. But when you was drafted before Shedeur in the 3rd round, then a whole nother round went by, Shedeur still not drafted. Then the 5th round come and he's finally drafted on the same team. You cannot allow that 5th round draft pick guy outplay you and you make a comment like there are entertainers and then there are competitors. Where did you get that from? Truly got to believe that these are some of the things that maybe the coaching staff and the owners are saying. Everybody except for the GM, because the GM is who gave Shedeur his shot. Those are not words of a good teammate at all. Especially one who put numbers up like 13 and 18, 143, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and a fumble loss. I can see if you went out there, you had a 97 quarterback rating, you threw for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Man, Dillion Gabriel lit it up, but you didn't. You made bad decisions. Cost you an interception and 6 points going the other way. You lost the football. Number 1 rule in football, especially from the quarterback, protect the football. You can't win without the football. How many turnovers did Shedeur have? How many turnovers have Shedeur had in training camp? The last that I checked, the only quarterback in that camp with no interceptions was Shedeur Sanders.
As of mid-August 2025, Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback, has not thrown an interception in training camp. Reports from early August show that through 9 training camp practices, he had thrown 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. In the Browns' first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, he also had a clean sheet with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions.
So I said he got to have moved up the depth charts, and no, he hasn't. He hasn't. And then, as I was preparing for this video, this article hit my desk. And I said, you have got to be kidding me. Dillion Gabriel deemed benign after perceived viral shot at Shedeur Sanders during Browns win over Eagles. Well, how else are we supposed to take what he said? There are entertainers and then there are competitors. When all of the NFL world, all of the owners, whenever you talk about Dillion and his sons, all we hear out of you guys is they are entertainers. They too flashy. They too boisterous. They too noisy. They need to be humbled. And here you are with less than stellar performance. The first thing come out of your mouth is there are entertainers and then there are competitors. How are we supposed to take that? Let's look at this. Let's look at this article. CBS Sports, Aditi Kinkhabwala added context to clear up confusion. Can you believe this? There has been confusion in his statements about Dillion Gabriel's comment on the difference between entertainers and competitors. That many took as a shot at fellow Cleveland Brown rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. While some believe Gabriel was intentional, King Bawala doesn't believe the 24-year-old conducts himself that way. That's interesting because this is what makes that interesting. Because if that was Shedeur Sanders that has said that, can you imagine what would have been in the news the next day? Can you imagine what would have been said of Shedeur Sanders and the comments that he said? How dare he make a comment like that? What was he thinking of? How brash was that? But when Dillon Gabriel says it, this is confusion because this young man does not conduct himself that way. She goes on to say, let's please not take this out of context. Do you think that they would have stood up for Shedeur like this if he had made a comment like this? No, not at all. She say, I was so impressed with how sagely and sincerely Dillon Gabriel talked previously about tuning out distractions. He told us there are entertainers, hot take artists, and there are competitors. He and his fellow quarterbacks, and he doesn't ever want to get those lines twisted. I therefore ask him to share his wise approach to keeping the external noise from, and he said, infiltrating with the people watching. King Bawala wrote, this is as humble and respectful a young man as there is. Don't malign him by assuming something that isn't there. Look at how gracefully and how modestly she talks about Dillon Gabriel. Have we heard one reporter talk about Shedeur Sanders in this way? One. I'll wait. Instead, Shedeur gets beat up when he makes a comment to a reporter who is always talking bad about him. And he was real respectful when he walked to the reporter, right? Check this out. Let me pull this up right quick, people.
And play. He goes after Tony Grossi, a longtime radio guy in Cleveland, saying, how come you never say anything nice about me?
I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't seen nothing positive that you ever say.
Stop it. Again, with the legendary stuff. Nobody likes me. Everybody's against me. You had a great game. Just walk away. Just walk away.
But that's not the Sanders way.
Just stop bringing attention to yourself. Because honestly, that clip of he and Tony Grossi having a conversation has gotten as much airtime as the 2 touchdowns that he threw.
Yeah. This is what's thought of Shedeur when he asked the question. But the problem with that video is that they did not play the entire video. Here on Mo Talk right now, we finna play the entire video. They took a part of what Shedeur did, and he went on a whole tangent about this here, right? As if Shedeur was out of line and disrespectful for asking. But let's watch how the whole video looked as compared to what we saw.
Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't seen nothing positive this for everything. I just don't buy them everything. What up, man? Come on, Tony. What I do? What I do to you, Tony?
So where is the reporter that's going to stick up for Shedeur and be like, we can't get his approach to Tony out of context? Huh? Where is Aditi at? Where is she at? Letting us know that when he approached him, yes, he was serious, but how respectful he was when he approached. He even got a laugh out of Tony. He hugged Tony. He walked off and he was like, Tony, what did I do to you? Like I told you in the video about this here, it's not his arrogance that they don't like. It's not the brashness. It's not him throwing up the watch that they don't like. It's the confidence that they are afraid of. We're not supposed to have that confidence. You think yourself more than, not realizing that everything that you have is because we've given it to you. So we got to humble you. We got to bring you down so that you can respect your master, because the confidence that you have is too high. This is the same organization that drafted Johnny Manziel. How much arrogant can you be? Question that I really have is, how dumb are you going to be, Cleveland? Are you really going to follow this thing all the way through and not allow Shedeur Sanders to be the face of your football team? Are you for real going to sabotage the entire organization and spit in the faces of the fans of Cleveland Browns because you don't agree with his confidence? Trade him off somewhere so that he won't be your problem, or keep him and keep suppressing him and not allow him to be the star in this league that he deserves to be, and keep Dillion Gabriel as your future. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea what type of emotions I would have if I was a Cleveland Brown fan right now. I'm having enough dealing with Jerry Jones and him and his slave master mentality and how he's dealing with Micah Parsons. I couldn't imagine what I'd be going through as a Cleveland Brown fan. Yeah. There was no other way to take that comment that Dillion Gabriel said.
There's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work. That's
entertainers and competitors is what he said. Well, all I can do is go by what they always say when they talk about Shedeur. And I can only go by the article that was written by the lady who I can't pronounce her name. This is a Mo Talk. Shia Yeshu. Peace to the next time.